How are you today? So we are playing chess again. So basically, what we will do is that. So I was just looking at my mistakes and all in this particular game. So you really can't see the screen as well, right? This particular screen is not working properly. So what I will do is I will bring it to a better screen. Now you guys can see, I guess. This is it, right? So let's go to YouTube audio library as well. First of all, I'm playing a game over here. It's a bit down. Lessons that I need to prepare for is I have to do is passed pawn, isolated pawn. Let's do the isolated pawn thingy. And hanging pawns, right?
Some pawn structures can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. Two of the most typical pawn structures you should learn how to both play with and against are isolated and hanging pawn structures. In this endgame, white has an isolated pawn on d4. An isolated pawn is a pawn that is disconnected from the rest of the pawn structure and cannot be protected by another pawn. Isolated pawns can only be protected by pieces, so this makes it a serious weakness in the endgame. Notice that all of white's major pieces are passively defending the isolated pawn, while black's major pieces enjoy more space and put serious pressure on white's d4 pawn. Black is already threatening e5, not a position white wants to defend. Let's take a look at an isolated pawn position in the middle game. White has an isolated pawn on d4. When you have an isolated queen pawn, you should generally keep as many pieces on the board as possible and try to use these pieces to set up an attack, often on the king side. A positive of the isolated pawn is that since there are not any pawns on the files next to it, in this case the c and the e files, this means white can often use these files for attack. Rooks are especially useful on these files. When you are defending against an isolated pawn, you do not want to allow it to advance, which opens up more lines for attack and often eliminates the long-term weakness of the isolated pawn. The best way to do this is by blocking the square directly in front of the pawn, in this case, the d5 square. Black is threatening knight b4 to d5 when black blockades white's isolated pawn. The defender will look to trade pieces and work toward an endgame like the one we looked at a moment ago. With white to play, white plays the important a3, preventing black from playing knight b4. If black still tries to block the isolated pawn with knight d5, notice black's knight is no longer protecting h7, so white can continue to develop and create kingside threats with queen d3. Black either has to waste time retreating the knight back to f6, or create long-term weaknesses on the king side with a move like g6. After a3, a more common idea for black is to play b6, preparing to place the bishop on the long diagonal and help control the square in front of the isolated pawn, the d5 square. After queen d3, placing pressure on black's king side, in bishop b7, white eliminates the isolated queen pawn and opens up the position with d5. It looks like white is simply losing a pawn after e takes d5, but this opens up the e-file for white's rook, placing pressure on black's bishop on e7. After bishop g5, white is threatening bishop takes f6 and checkmate on h7, so black is forced to make the weakening move g6. Now that the knight is only protected by the bishop, white takes advantage of the weak dark squares with rook takes e7. The only way to protect the f6 knight is to play queen takes e7. And now white has the crushing knight takes d5, attacking the queen and pin knight on f6. White will play knight takes f6 check on the next turn with a crushing attack. The next structure we'll look at is hanging pawns. Hanging pawns
Isolated pawns is done. Hanging pawns, right. Let me finish this particular game, okay? How's my string going? I think it looks alright. Alright. What's happening? Oof, I missed something. Okay, so even if you push me somewhere else, I will have better move, right? And if you push the pawn forward, e6, then I will play e3. Let's put our knight on c3 so that we can control this particular square, or we can't, right? If I push it now, what will happen? If we capture, I will go and capture. Okay, it's a 4 candidate. Has to take it. This square would have been better, but the knight is there and the pawn is also there, right? I can't go there. Let's come back. I don't have much time left. Come for it. Take it with the pawn on e6. Oh. Still not giving up. Fuck. No point in me.
Are two pawns on connecting files that are isolated from all other pawns. Hanging pawns are similar to isolated pawns. They can often be targets of attack, especially in endgames, but they also can be powerful pawns that can advance, sometimes creating a powerful pass pawn or helping create attacking chances. In this position, white has hanging pawns on c4 and d4. White uses the hanging pawns to create a powerful attack, starting with d5. The d5 pawn attacks the knight on c6 and the pawn on e6. This move also opens up the dark squared bishop on the long diagonal, pointing directly at black's king. If black captures the d5 pawn with e takes d5, the e-file has been opened and black is in serious trouble when white's other hanging pawn, now an isolated pawn, attacks the knight on c6 and the pawn on e6. This move also opens up the dark squared bishop on the long diagonal, pointing directly at black's king. If black captures the d5 pawn with e takes d5, the e-file has been opened and black is in serious trouble when white's other hanging pawn, now an isolated pawn, recaptures with c takes d5. If black moves the knight on c6, white wins a piece with queen takes e7. Black cannot capture the d5 pawn because after queen takes d5, white wins the queen with bishop takes h7 check. Since the pawn cannot be captured, black may try the aggressive-looking knight b4. But white can simply play bishop b1. White is threatening to trap black's knight after a3, and white is also prepared to play d takes e6, discovering an attack on black's queen. Black's position is going to collapse. This leaves us with the knight retreat, knight b8. Black's defenses are overwhelmed after queen e4, threatening checkmate, and after g6, white's queen swings over to the dark squares with queen d4, once again threatening checkmate. After f6, white crashes through with rook takes e6. As you can see, a well-developed army can be a very dangerous force with hanging pawns leading the charge. Hanging pawns can also be a weakness, especially since hanging pawns require pieces to protect them. In this position, white's hanging pawns are under pressure. Black is threatening to win a pawn with knight takes d4. After bishop e3, white adds more protection to one of the hanging pawns, d4. Now black is able to put pressure on the other hanging pawn with knight a5. Black's knight attacks white's queen, and with the rook on c8, the c4 pawn is under serious pressure. Black's light-squared bishop is now attacking a key defender of the d4 pawn, the knight on f3. Capturing that knight would also ruin white's structure on the king side. White has too many weaknesses to try and protect and has a bad position. After exploring how to play with and against isolated and hanging pawns, now it's time to put your skills to the test.
Let's go and put it. Start challenges. Black is preparing to double rooks on the d5 and target white's only weakness in this endgame, the isolated queen pawn. Okay, on the d5, right? How can white eliminate this weakness? Play d5, I guess. Then if you move your rook over there, what are you trying to do? Back move. Will that work? d6 is a good work, right? White eliminates the weak isolated pawn and has a solid position in the endgame. In endgame, position is like everything. This time it's black to move. What positions will you play? That move, I guess, d5 just prevents the pawn from advancing, right? And black can double rooks and even move the queen to the a1 maybe. Pile of pressure against the white pawn, right? You want to match it, okay? And look for the incredible battle for the f5 pawn. Okay, f4, f5 pawn. Oh, two rooks, one queen as well. One thingy. One queen, one bishop. White has double pawns on the e5. Okay. Can you find a way to eliminate this weakness and add more pressure to f5 pawn? Yes, if we just play that, then what will happen? You capture and then our knight captures. That won't work, right? If you just capture, let's see. Knight captures f5, rook captures f5, and then queen captures, rook captures, bishop captures, queen captures. Ooh. But queen will come to g4 if we play that move, so how can we do that? So if we move that, f captures z, knight captures g4, pressure on g5, f5, right? Then what, man? And what? How can we protect it? We could bring it queen from the side and protect this particular pawn and put up the pressure on there. g4 is actually black can capture g4 because of queen captures at 7. Aha, and then it would have been a mate, right? Queen captures at 7, checkmate. Yeah, captured then. We go directly over that one is blocking it. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Now the black adds another defender to f5. Can force a weak isolated pawn in black's position. Can you force a weak isolated pawn in black's position? This is the isolated pawn over here. Rook to e1, and then after that move, pawn move is also a good one, right? 14. Okay, what can be done over here? Black cannot capture d4 rather than. Can you force a isolated pawn? Oops. Capture. Okay, after creating this isolated pawn, white has a bounce and long-term weakness to worry about. Great job. Next, white has an isolated pawn which helps control the center and prepare attacking ideas, but it also can be a target. Let's choose between 4 moves for white. A3, A3, yeah, bishop on E2, bishop on E2, bishop E3. Okay, that's the protecting kind of thing, right? Bishop G5. Okay, and then bishop G5. Or D5, right? That also prevents it basically, because what he will do is that he will bring his knight over there if I push it, so that he can, next move he will play is knight to d4, right, as the guy said in the video as well, and attack this as well, and then that is also attacked. Okay, if you move bishop to e4, then if you move your knight, it will happen that pawn, that thing will be done. But after knight, you capture, and then basically after that, again, you will have to move our thingy, our rook, so that will be a good move, I guess. A3. Great decision. White prevents black from playing the classic blockading maneuver, which is basically knight to d4. Okay, and then d5, right? White will continue to focus on developing and preparing pressure on the king side. Yep. And basically this file is simply open. This diagonal is also open. In the World Chess match, Boris Spassky just played 14. Move number 14, I guess, A6. Since the A6 pawn is pinned to thingy. Pinned to black rook, and can you find a strong capture that creates hanging pawns and isolated and D pawn that white can target. Since A6 is pinned to thingy, black's rook. And you find a strong capture that creates a hanging pawn. That was thinking maybe that. Then what? Next one will be white smooth, right? No. It will be white smooth, yeah. Okay, just create a hanging pawn and then you come back. White wants to advance his hanging pawns and create a powerful pass move, but which hanging pawn should you move? Can we find Grandmaster 11 Arrow's powerful pawn advance? I think c5. Because the other pawn on d4 is already protected by the rook on d1 and then the queen on b2, right? So whereas if we do that, because the queen will be thingy, right? Oops. That's the move. You should take it. Let's try one more time. So if I move that, you capture. And then I will capture. You can't come and capture because your queen is dying, so you have to move it. In that meantime, I can come and capture. Let's see. Okay, queen has to come over there and protect it, right? Now what? To open up the d6 square for our advance. Now for our pass pawn to advance. Okay. That's not possible in this one. That will make it move, right? Why could not it capture? Because it would be captured by the rook. Okay, so now you are attacking that. Now we will just attack d6, right? So Grandmaster's David continues to attack white passed pawn, but it only increases in strength with every advance. Let's push the protected passed pawn to the 7th rank. Done. Next lesson.
A wonderful feeling in chess happens when you can place a piece on a great square that controls key enemy squares, and your opponent cannot easily remove that piece. We call that square an outpost. An outpost is a square that cannot be attacked by an enemy pawn. The best outpost squares are those that control many key squares on your opponent's side of the board and are protected by one of your own pawns. The most effective outpost piece is usually the knight. Let's take a look at this position. White's knight is eyeing two attractive looking squares in black's territory, d5 and f5. Which square should the knight choose? If white plays knight to f5, the knight is anchored by the pawn on e4. But notice this is not an effective outpost square because black can attack the knight with a pawn, in this case with g6. Black's dark squares are a little weakened by this move, but shouldn't be the end of the world in this endgame. White's knight had a much better square to use as an outpost. Let's take a look. A far better move is knight to d5. The knight lands on an excellent outpost square where no pawns can attack it. The knight is posted in the center of the board and controls many key squares in black's camp, including threatening a fork on b6. Notice that if black plays rook to c5, the knight doesn't have to move because it is worth less than the rook. This is another reason why knights are such strong outpost pieces. Once they take over an outpost square, it is very difficult to remove them. We should mention that white could place another piece on the d5 outpost with queen to d5. But it is not useful because black can force it to move away with rook to c5. Let's take a look at another example. In this position, white has a tremendous outpost square for the knight on d5. If white is in too much of a rush and jumps into d5 immediately with knight to d5, white will regret that decision after knight takes d5, eliminating white's knight and revealing the dark squared bishop's attack on white's bishop. If white tries to save the bishop with bishop takes e7, black wins a piece after knight takes e7. White should first secure the outpost square by playing bishop takes f6, removing the guard of the d5 square, the knight. After bishop takes f6, the d5 square has been cleared for white's knight, and after knight to d5, white's knight is wonderfully placed in the center, threatening a fork on b6 and attacking the bishop on f6. White has a great position. In this position, black has a very strong outpost square available in white's kingside. Do you see it? That's right, the f4 square. After knight to h5, black's knight heads to f4 and opens up the rook's attack on f3. After queen to e3, protecting the pawn, black's knight leaps into the f4 outpost with knight to f4. Black is now threatening queen to g5 check and queen to g2 checkmate, so white is forced to play king to h1. White opens a space for the rook on g1 to help protect the king, but after queen to h4, black's pieces invade white's weak kingside with an overwhelming advantage. One idea is to play the rook lift, rook to f5, and rook to h5, threatening checkmate on h2. White will have a very difficult time trying to survive. Let's take a look at one more position together. In this position, it's black to move. If you were able to move your knight anywhere on the board, where would you like it to be? It's hard to find a better square than e3, where it would be planted in the heart of white's position and also forking the queen and rook. But how can the knight get there? If you found the excellent move d4, great job. This move attacks white's rook, clears open the d5 square for the black knight, and prepares to support a knight outpost on e3 or c3. White should retreat the rook to c1 when black has a tremendous positional advantage after knight d5 and knight to e3. But white may try to play the tricky rook to c4, preparing to capture the d4 pawn the moment black plays knight to d5. Remember to never trust your opponent's threats without double-checking them first, and in this case, white's threat of taking the pawn is a bluff. Black confidently plays knight to d5, when white should move the queen out of danger and allow black to play knight e3. But white plays rook takes d4. Can you see what white overlooked? White captured a pawn, but the unprotected rook is on the same diagonal as white's king. After queen to b6, white tries to protect the rook with queen to a1. and black simply wins a rook after knight f6, revealing a second attacker against white's pinned rook, the rook on d8. Now that you've learned the power of outposts, it's time to put your knowledge to the test.
Let's put it to test. So if I first create outpost on d5, what will happen? The knight will come and capture. So I have to take it. Sorry, show the outpost. The defender of d5 is eliminated. Let's dominate the position by planting. Okay, knight has been planted. Black's pawn is under attack. Can you prevent this threat? And also create a powerful outpost here by putting our knight on c3. Yeah. The fuck are you moving, man? Just capture material, right? Black is dreaming of creating an outpost square. The perfect square could be this square. Outpost square for the attacking along with thingy as well, right? White bishop secures the d3, right? Let's move one knight to that square to d3. How can I do that? Oh, I did not see that. With black to play, can you find a powerful position move that creates an outpost for your knight? That can't be outpost for sure because it's being targeted by everything, so it will be hard to eliminate all of them, right? Okay, so if this is a square that we want our outpost, first of all we capture, that will give it a more defender, it will be protected. Now we can attack that pawn. Outpost will be f4. But you're ready to post the knight on powerful d6. On white's knight. Knight will first of all move to e4 and then after that move to d6, creating a fork. What are we required to do? To move that brings your knight to an outpost square, which also protects that. Okay. That's a good move, right? Can't even can't see any lessons. Okay. Everything is money in this world. Anyway, what did we learn anyway? Let's see. Sense. I think this can't be continued. Can we continue this?
Gaining the advantage.
It's possible, but I have to first of all learn again and again.
Gaining the advantage in chess is only the beginning of the journey on the road to chess.
Right. Intermediate fundamentals. So section, right? Opening principles, winning the game, capturing pieces, finding checkmate, improving book opening. Okay. Make the most of your pieces. This is what I need to do. Mental lessons go time. Goodness. Let's see some tournaments. What's happening? Kony was third. Okay. Need to play some Bughouse. Bughouse. Play standard Bughouse. Play. Waiting for opponent. Let's just do that, right? Minus 400 plus 400. Bughouse and then let's just go to that particular game and then I'll just write something about it. Okay, so this is the king's cabinet, right? did it start to go south? Until here it was all balanced, right? After I took it, okay, went down, okay. Knight to 3 would have been better. Why is that? Bring away or set about post or something. That was coming. That's a blunder because I gave it away, right? This is clearly losing anyway, right? This move number, what is this? Analysis F329. I was planning to play Queen's Gambit. The player captured my light on P1. At the very moment, I did not realize that I had a rook. Just beside it on A1. So I played, what did I play? A4. I think that's what I played, right? Should be A4, A4, A4. Bishop captures B1. Queen A4, yeah, check. That's pretty much it. I played Queen A4, check. Things were all right until then. So, what's this number? 24, right? Should not have exchanged it. Number 24. Exchange my rook, and this is we have taken with that one would be hanging, right? Because other pieces very nicely placed. Now when I look back at it, I also found that this one number 23 if the other player had captured by had played A captures, had played C captures thingy, right? C captures B5, C captures B5, C captures B5, then is on D5 will be hanging, and then how could I attack? How could I attack now? Okay, that's inaccuracy. Okay. D1. Okay. So D1 is not the move. E2 and then I think after this. So play F to C8. Like that. Capture. Capture. If you exchange. Capture. That will be a bad move for it because now this diagonal is free for me and then I can capture this particular point. Oh, that guy could do that, whereas I could go to A1 after that. But anyways, right, it was in that line. So pressure on it, but then king 2, e2. Bringing my knight, two. I think where was it? It was in C, right? So C4 means 4 means 3 2, and then D and D2. And this should be D2. Should be D2, yeah. It did not happen. So analysis, if I do that, so analysis. Delete move. Okay, I could do everything over here only. If I play that, and then if I place a comment over here. And then I play a the capture. So 6. And then D5 is I could take steps to move to E2. Okay, we can add a bracket as well. What's this? C captures that. That's an inaccuracy. Okay, I don't have to do that as well, right? How can I do that then? Okay, C takes on that, and then after that I move over there. I move your knight there. I move it there. Delete move. Delete move. Okay, now I move over there. Knight to D2. I move my rook to C8. And if I capture, so the pawn or rook. That's how it would have gone, right? Then basically capture, capture, what happened. That thing happened, and then you can add a comment after as well. Oh, don't need a comment as well, right? If I had played that, should he play? I think that move F5. Okay, you're saying it's an accuracy, so if you move your over there, then basically, because you know why? Because this particular thing is not protected. What should white do? I think that would be a good move. Rook to three. Taking it, I don't think so. It's a good move. For black, that's a mistake. Okay, so do we move if you go there? Also to white too. Oh, that's a blunder, that's a blunder. That's a blunder. That's a good place to be, but what can white play? That would be a blunder. Into. And that would be a good move, right? Now you can actually capture it. And now I think you can capture left. That's how it would happen, right? But what happened? I played h5. However, did not happen. Big mistake by placing my knight on. By placing my knight on. Placing my knight on. That's true. It's true. Because after this move, after g3, have been trapped, and that's exactly what happened. Always with the night. Happens to me always with the night. Now I have started to think of it. Think of 2 modes past or nights, so that or night, so that I play started to think to advance for night. So for night, get trapped. So unnecessary. That's always okay. I don't need this, I think. Let us put my analysis right. Let's do saved analysis. Save. Saved, right? Let's go to saved analysis now. This versus that. Okay. Nice. So if I share it now, I'm still unloaded this. Load from URL. Okay, load it. Insert, right. Should have seen it. Okay, let's insert it a bit. Somewhere around over here. Let's insert it somewhere around over there. Right. Does it have that? Yes, it does have that. It does have the different variations that I've created. Okay, nice. Good. Okay, it would be good to get a photo of it as well. But photo of the key moment only, right? Next key moment. This one. This is the photo. Save analysis. Okay, analysis. If I'm saving it, let's go animated GIF this time. That move. I just load randomly. I knew my game is lost. I knew I lost, so played. Skip code. Right. Desktop. Does this thing accept GIF? Let's see. All files, good. Board, I think it does accept. Good. Let's put it in my browser as well. Right. HTML view. Let's go to HTML. Body slash HTML. Oops. Slash body slash HTML, right? And then within body we need paragraph. Within paragraph, what do we give? Hi there, and then close paragraph, and then basically we'll have one break. BR. Right. What the hell is happening? Okay, that is why. Again, paragraph. Another one. Right is welcome back to the game. Blah blah. Let's just go. Trapping my night is my regular habit. Then again, paragraph slash p paragraph end. Give me /p. I think I'll just publish it and then I'll just check and then back and forth. View. Let's go edit. Let's see what's happening. Welcome back, blah blah. Hi there. And then what happened? Okay, there was a line break, but it was too big, so I think I don't need it. Paragraph ending should be good. Yeah. Okay. I played Queen A4. E4, A4, A4. Where's the A4? Queen A4. I had a rook. What happened to my music? After that, blah blah blah. So, where do I need a pawn? Pawn on d5. Pawn on d5. After that, what? King e2. Knight to d2. King e2. King e2. That marks the end of paragraph. Update. Let's do F5. Okay. Looks all good. Till now. P again. Another paragraph. Another paragraph is all about knight, knight, knight. And knight. Knight on this one. Always with the knight. The paragraph has ended. Oops. Another paragraph. P tag and P. Bye for now. P tag. Again, P tag. References. Tag. P tag. Chess.com. Tag and then below this I'll just put the iframe. I'll just insert the iframe, embed, and then iframe should be embedded over here, and then styling, get element by ID, data, and data ID, right, and height is based on the data. We might turn up script. Okay. I will update. Let's see how it looks. Should look good. It's all right. Mood is also playable. Style. Equals to color white. Date. Style. Right. Style is style. Is equals to color. Give me white color. Style is equals to color white. Style is equals to white. Style is equals to color is equals to color white. Just copy paste it to base. Why are you wasting a lot of your time? Let's see if it works or not. Should work. Did not work in that because what the hell? Just console did not work right. Color right. Just comply for this one. I will align it. Text. Text align. Line. Center. Now it's at work. New it. Text align center. Why are you not working then? Text align HTML. CMDR. Oh man, this text align thing is not working. Just analysis, just.com. Shortcut right now. Frame ID. Which ID are you basically getting it? So 7, blah blah. Okay. Allow transparency true. Allow transparency true. Frame border 0. There is no frame border. Style is width 100%. I could change it as well, right? Let's go 950. And 950 is very less. %. Source is that, right? 7107458. Let's check. That's the script. And it should fit. Based on the width. Yep. Update. That thing is done. My value is also done. Nice. No, it did not go my way. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the day. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.